how did you like Twistas?
Um, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I know I mentioned this to you before, but I really, really liked that they shot it on 35 millimeter. It gave it a good bit of film grain that I think we're missing from a lot of movies these days that are shot on digital. Um, the plot was more hollow than the first Twister that I remember. But I mean, yeah, I thought the action was great. It was just a fun. It was kind of like the definition of a fun summer movie, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, it's funny because I haven't seen the first one in like probably I don't even know. It might have been 15 or more years, but I was surprised at how much I remembered, only because there were like a lot of little like callback things. And that's like to me, it wasn't bad. Like it was like Josh, he's not here, but I mean we did talk about it yesterday, and I don't want to speak for him, but like he did make the argument that like, well, this isn't like an exact sequel with like exact characters or whatever, but it's like in the universe. Like you see that in the beginning with like the whole Dorothy thing, they reference that. So like they're gonna try to like do some things from the original one, like not like bit by bit, but like they'll try to have some callbacks and homages and keep that like tone, which like I understand they have to do like overall, but like so overall I did like it. I would say like 6 out of 10. Like it was pretty much exactly what I expected. But like sometimes the things got like a little bit too like when he was talking about, oh, here's like the diagram that I'm doing. He used like the things, to set it up, like the sauce packets, and then like the one dude's like, oh, twins, we got twins, and then like when like the fucking like trucks came out of nowhere and like crossed them, like those things happened before in the first one. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but like every time they happened, I was like, okay, shit, when is the next like thing gonna happen? You know what I mean? So I kind of like was thinking about that, and it kind of took me out of it. It didn't ruin it, but it kind of took me out of it. But overall, like, yeah, 6 out of 10. It was fine. Would definitely watch it before I watch Long Legs again. But yeah, it was fine. What do you think?
I mean, I to quote Ivan, at the end of the movie, I called it normal trash and walked out. I did not like it at all. Maybe I
Yeah.
didn't see the first one, so maybe that would have like helped. But and I'm also not like the biggest like disaster movie fan, but it just was. It just felt like so generic and like boring to me. I really only enjoyed like the first 20 minutes where they like showed the first Twister and then the twins Twister, and then after that, it just got so repetitive. It just wasn't for me. I don't
Mm,
know.
mm,
I think all that's fair. I think it's kind of funny we're all over the board. I'm a little more positive on it than you guys are. I think I give it a 7 out of 10. And there were some cringe moments. I thought all of the characters for the most part were pretty well written. Besides Javi, Anthony Ramos's character, his dialogue was so cringe.
yeah,
Everything he said was
yeah.
so cringy, and they didn't really. I wish they touched on the developer, like what he was really up to. I get that he's scamming the people who live there, but there was really no conclusion to that at all, I don't think.
Yeah, I talked to Josh a little bit about that because I hadn't seen him before. That not Josh, but like that actor. He said he was in like I guess in the Heights, and then like he was in something else. And I hadn't remembered him from anything. And like earlier on in the film, I thought like a lot of his just kind of like dicking around dialogue was a little forced, just for my opinion. But in the scene where he's talking to her about like, oh, I would. There's a time when I would have did anything for you. I thought that like serious delivery was like pretty good. So I don't know, like his acting was like, I guess depending on the moments, it was kind of like all over just for my taste. And everyone else was fine. Yeah, some of like the bigger like meet the crew scenes I thought were a little like I don't know, not like forced, but it's like it's hard because like what can you do? Like you have multiple teams with like a lot of different people and like they all have their one little like line or like bit or something they'll do. So the second you go to that person, they're gonna like kind of like do that thing. And sometimes I was kind of like a little like cringe. It just felt like a very typical like movie beat, like meet the crew kind of thing. But yeah, I would say like yeah, the first part was like fine, and then after a while, as it went on, and then yeah, he just followed her back to her house, and somehow like her mom was okay with that. Like he just stayed at her house, and like
it's
her
Glen
mom.
Powell. I mean,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, he definitely hobbits. Like it was
if
so
you're
obvious.
high, it's acceptable. You're allowed to be
He was
people.
trying to fuck. Because the first time he was like walking over her, and it was like talking about like the dandelion and stuff. It was like yeah, I knew where the story was going, so it made it kind of predictable. And that's like one thing I think like Josh and I like really kind of like butt heads about a little bit because I was like, well, it was a little bit more. It not only was it predictable, like on top of like the typical kind of script formula, but like it had a lot of similar beats from the first one, and so after a while, it was very easy to predict what could have happened. Not everything 100%, but like most of it. Whereas Josh thought like, oh, it was pretty faithful, So for the most part, but like, yeah, that was just interesting. So
I guess I just wish there was more like conflict between like the two different crews, especially with like the crew with the scanners, since their whole deal was like we're tracking the tornado. When it takes out like a family owned business, then the guy comes and buys it up. And like I guess I just wish they were like butting heads more rather than just like chasing after tornadoes and then they kind of like split up and then they don't really interact much after that. I feel like that would have made it maybe a little bit more interesting. So I feel like that conflict was just kind of like, oh yeah, we don't like you because you're not helping people. They kind of just
I feel like once Daisy Edgar Jones' character and Glenn Powell, once their characters started hanging out and meshing together, they kind of just dropped all the other plot lines.
yeah,
like like we're gonna give you this also this like half-baked romance, and you're just gonna deal with it because that's what we got, and they just forgot about everything else. Which is, I mean, it worked for me. That part did work for me, but the rest of the story was kind of a little underbaked, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For the most part, again, like once you could kind of pick up on some beats, it was just like, and some of the predictability was like, it's fine. Like, they started hanging out more, and it was very clear, okay, she's gonna start doing this, and then the other dude's gonna get kind of jealous, and then it is what it is. But like, yeah, for the most part, like it wasn't. Again, it was almost exactly what I expected. So I wasn't really like surprised or like upset or like super thrilled. So funny thing, like the soundtrack was a lot more country than we had imagined. Like, and that was definitely tough for Sunny.
Yeah, it was very tough for me. I was like, it's just so like America core with like the rodeo and like the constant country. I was like, man, I just couldn't get into it. It was rough, but that's more of a preference thing for me.
Yeah, and then there were like the quieter parts. Yeah, there were the quieter parts of the film that had like a lot of nice like piano and like these really cool chords, and it was just a weird contrast. But yeah, overall, like I think like I don't know. Yeah, and then a lot more like the vlog stuff than I thought they would have. Obviously, they didn't really have any of that like the trailers, so I would have known. But that was like I guess an interesting angle that they had like a YouTube channel or whatever. But yeah, overall, like it was. I think it was. You think it was a pretty successful like sequel, because that was another thing too. It's not like an exact sequel, and it's also not like an exact like remake. You know what I mean? It's kind of like in that weird gray area.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's killing at the box office, so it's definitely successful on that front. But you're right, it is kind of odd. It's not a direct follow-up to the original, so I don't know if I would call it successful in that way. I don't think it's super memorable. Again, like I think I enjoyed the most out of everybody here. I don't think it's successful in terms of being a sequel, but it's making money, so good for them, good for the studio. I have one more point I wanted to make. I think the action was good though. I can't lie. I think all of that was really well directed. And have you guys seen Minari before?
Yeah,
it's the same guy, Lee Isaac Chung. He was I think he's a fantastic director. I don't think he wrote this story, but I think he's a great director.
Wait, he was a director for Twisters? Mm-hmm. That's so fucking weird. I had no idea.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I guess the other ones like Minari is more personal, but like I didn't even know who the director was for Twister. I didn't even like look it up beforehand. But
that's all over the place. I mean, Minari was obviously an incredible, like Oscar-worthy movie that was very deeply personal. And then he directed an episode of The Mandalorian. He's directing an episode of Skeleton Crew, which is a new Star Wars show later this year. And he did this. So he's kind of everywhere.
No, that's cool. Yeah, no. Going back to like when you said memorable, like was it you or someone else made the comment like there was no shot that you felt was like memorable?
I think Evan might have said that.
Okay.
I agreed with it. Yeah, it's just like I think like in a month I'm gonna completely forget about this movie. Like,
Yeah, because like every movie
Yeah.
like has like, like Apocalypse Now will have like the whole like rising sun like shot, and then like stuff with like helicopters, like just shots that like you think of in a film. Shining has like I don't know, like Jack like staring out the window or something. Like there's different like really like kind of like iconic shots from like a film, and this one didn't. I don't know, like cinematography wasn't bad, but like and one thing that I think Josh mentioned too, because they looked up the budget the other day. I guess it was like what 200 million or whatever, and like I think for Godzilla or something, they're comparing it like that was like 150 million or something. So this is like a bigger budget, and we're wondering like, well, that had so much more CG. So what did this go for? And I think it was all like the storm effects and stuff. Like it all looked really good. Like it didn't really look. And the fire tornado was like I don't know about cheesy, but I was like it was
I was
okay.
gonna say I think that was supposed to be their iconic.
Okay,
like,
yeah,
shot.
okay.
I feel like if, like obviously this isn't realistic, but if the fire tornado like carried out from like the like factory, that would have been kind
Yes,
of cool.
yes.
It's like a fire tornado like chasing them. I was like that would have been like crazy. But
Yes,
I'm sure
yes.
they were going for more like realism than just like spectacle.
No, yeah, that's what Evan was saying too, because he hadn't seen the first one, or maybe he said he didn't like remember much of it at all, but like he didn't know what to expect in terms of like a big blockbuster. So he thought, okay, well, if they're gonna have a big fire tornado, it's gotta be big, it's gotta go crazy. And I was telling him like, yeah, usually that's the case, but like they're in a weird spot where like again, like it's like kind of a half sequel, like kind of like a remake in a sense, but not really. And they want to like match the tone of like the '96 version. So there's not going to be anything like outrageous in it. So again, like it was pretty much what I expected in terms of like just the actual disaster moments of it.
Yeah, I think Sonny hit the nail on the head. I don't know if anyone's gonna remember this in a few weeks. But everyone's thirsting over Glenn Powell, and rightfully so. But aside from his wet t-shirt contest, I don't know what we're gonna remember from this movie.
Oh yeah, that scene where he walked out in the rain and he had that. I was like, because I think it was like some like group of like chicks be honest, whatever.
Yeah,
I heard. I'm like, oh, like one of them like made a sound.
Everyone's nipples are hard. Shit.
Yeah. So yeah, no, he was good. Yeah, the acting overall was like, yeah. Besides like a couple of those different like, I don't know, different deliveries from like everyone. Like that's what I would call like some more movie moment thing where like they have some kind of dialogue that's either awkward or it's trying to be like playful but just comes off weird. Like I don't always try to put that on the actors. Like it could be the direction, but like overall the acting from everyone was like pretty good. I think it was fine.
I think it worked. I really liked it's funny, she was in Long Legs and then this, Kiernan Shipka in the beginning before she gets killed off. I thought she was good. She almost was, I would say unrecognizable, but the way they did her hair and makeup and everything, she didn't look like how she normally does, plus Long Legs. So good for her for getting out there.
Yeah, she was good. I was kind of surprised they got her for that bit because like she's like, from like Mad Men and like Sabrina, like she's been in a lot of shit. I almost kind of preferred that like they got like an unknown just to like have someone have like a big part because her part was so small, but she played the part really well. I thought she did well. It's just like I kind of expected to see her maybe in a flashback or whatever. And then when I forget the main character's name already, but like when she gets back home to like the barn, it cuts to like the home video footage and you see like her boyfriend there and like she's remembering doing the project. I just assumed we'd see more from like the other two characters, whatever, just briefly, but there was nothing. So like I guess I was just kind of surprised. It was almost kind of like Bryan Cranston, like 2014 Godzilla or whatever. When he just died like so early on. And I was like, oh shit, really? I guess it. But yeah.
Spoilers for Godzilla 2014, by the way, everybody.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. That's like 5 movies and 10 years ago, but yeah, spoilers.
Yeah. But no, she did well. Yeah.
Well, hey, that's a good thing about film is none of us are super stoked on it, but we all have different varying opinions, Obviously, Sonny being the most negative on it. Get this country shit out of my theater.
Yeah, it was, and it was also like, I don't know, there was just some like, I don't know, never mind. I don't know where I was going with that. Like, I was just like, I guess part of the whole like other storyline with like her getting interested in him or whatever. It just because I saw an article somewhere that was like, well, it's like a Hallmark film with tornadoes, and I wouldn't call it that, but like those moments definitely kind of made me lean more towards that. Probably wasn't a good thing that I saw that article before going to the movie, because like once I saw those like other scenes where he walks up and he's like, "Well, it's this, isn't it?" And she's like, "Yeah, I guess it is." They're kind of like doing this flirty thing back and forth. It's just kind of like, I don't know. It's development. I get it, but to me, sometimes it just came off as like a little cheesy. I guess I just kind of preferred how like Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton, I think was the first one, how they did that kind of stuff. But then again, it's different because they were like what, like ex-husband and wife, right? In that first one. And these are like two different. But yeah, I don't know. That was just like.
Did you guys see that article that the one note Steven Spielberg gave on the movie, because he's a producer, I think, is that they cut. There's a kiss between Glenn and Daisy's characters at the end in the airport, and they cut it. And that was Steven's note to cut it.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it was like, it came out, I think, before the movie did. So that kind of spoiled. I mean, they were obviously setting up a romance there and whatnot, but I think it worked fine without having a kiss in there. But it's just funny that's the one note.
In an article that like there was going to be a kiss between these two characters and it was cut, like that already came out.
Yeah. Like at least the same days and we have talked before. Hey, Evan.
Hey, so what do you think about
Ready to get twisted?
I thought that was okay. Like I don't know, like I thought it was like a fine like blockbuster. Honestly, my main takeaway from it is just like I think I personally like my blockbusters to be like stupider, like, and have more spectacle. Like if you're gonna have like a $200 million budget and a more expensive movie than Godzilla X Kong, why wasn't the fire tornado more than that?
Why didn't the one tornado hop on the other tornado's back and take down an
exactly? Okay, like, I don't know if y'all talked about the fire tornado yet, but like,
yeah, I mentioned it on your.
Okay, I'm gonna reiterate it one more fucking time. If you're gonna have like a scene where tornado goes over like a fucking power plant, becomes a fire tornado very briefly, at least have the tornado burn a single building down. Like it looked cool, but like it didn't really do anything. You know, I don't know. It's like,
why didn't a big tornado take a smaller tornado and just like beat it on the ground over?
Yeah. See two tornadoes fight.
They already have like the two tornadoes. They could have used that. Like, I mean, they use it for a narrative purpose, which is fine. But like, they could have really, have maybe like a tornado shoots another tornado at a different tornado or something.
We need to do like Twisters 3 and then make it like a buddy cop tornado movie.
Well, like they basically kind of already set that up, because like the end of the movie has them essentially start like a tornado Ghostbusters. Like, I mean, I hate to say it. True.
Yeah, so is that what happened? Like he walked in, they were gonna kiss, and then there was like some weather announcement, and then they had like that kind of like the cloud doing this shit outside.
Yeah.
And then they're both like, all right, well, like I guess we're on the case, and they both left.
Well, that was literally like the Spider-Man like 2 Go Get 'Em tiger ending in a way. Just like both of them were Spider-Man in a sense.
I guess Javi was Mary Jane.
Yeah, Javi was Mary Jane.
Kirsten Dunst was a terrible tornado. I mean,
oh, sorry, what was that?
I said Kirsten Dunst was a terrible tornado in this. I mean, it was really, she phoned in that performance.
It was a whirlwind of emotions that Toby was putting her through. Like that's
oh man.
Oh my god.
I didn't see it, but apparently right online there actually was like a post-credits thing to this movie. I just kind of walked out. So like,
oh yeah, was there post-credits? We just left.
I didn't think there was going to be a post-credit. I left it.
It's
a disaster movie. What is a post-credit? Like a hurricane?
Of like a tornado, like Ghostbusters service or something. Like I don't know.
We'll look it up on YouTube. I had no idea.
That's like some like site said. So I don't know.
That's what we gotta add at the end of our future spooky house. We gotta add a montage, add the post-credit scene, a montage of what stuff happening. And then, like,
just set up a completely unrelated movie with a whole different cast.
Yeah.
These end credits, dude, it's too much.
Yeah.
If there's one for Alien Romulus, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Well, when is that coming out? Is that next week?
August 16th.
Okay, so it's about 2 weeks, so yeah, or so yeah.
Have you seen
we should do a review for that one.
Well, we'll do it for review for sure. Yeah. I definitely want to make this a regular thing. So
yeah, if you haven't seen the trailer for Alien Romulus, do not watch it. They basically spoil every character death in the movie. So like,
I watched the first one and I started watching it for the second, and I was like, okay, I need to turn this off. I want to go into the movie kind of blind, because I'm really excited for it. I love Alvarez as a director, and I like the commitment to the practical effects. That they're using in that movie. I'm really, really stoked for that. It's probably the movie I'm looking forward to the most. That and A Complete Unknown. I love Bob Dylan, and I think Timothy's gonna kill it.
That's going to be very interesting. It'll be very, very interesting. Yeah. So
Can't wait to hear Timothy go like, "Hey guys, it's me, Bob Dylan." It's gonna be so good. I smoked the weed. Yeah, it's gonna
And he's gonna sell you some candy. Or something.
design of the
Exactly.
Yeah. No, should be great. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess the next movie we can do. I don't know if you saw Oddity yet, or if you want to see Oddity or whatever. But yeah, if you want to see that, if you have time to see that, or even on VOD or whatever, I guess we could do a review.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Although
I'm seeing.
Huh?
Deadpool. What were you saying, Evan?
I said, isn't Trap like August 2nd? I mean, we're all
M.
Trap heads at
M.
this
Night
point.
Shyamalan. Yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah, I was thinking. I mean, we'll probably have 3 in the next month or so. With Deadpool, Wolverine. I think we'll all see that. You guys will probably drag out in there.
Yeah,
And then Trap, and then Alien Romulus. So
Yeah, no, because it'll be well, I guess any final thoughts on Twister? I'll talk about specifics after, but like any final
Oh, I
thoughts?
didn't give a rating. I would give it a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, that's time.
I would give it like a 6 out of 10. I thought it was like a perfectly fine blockbuster movie. I just think like for me, the bar for like big dumb summer blockbusters has been raised so high by Meg and like Godzilla X Kong that like if this movie came out like in the 90s or the 2000s, it would have been a slam because it's basically just kind of like a HD remake of Twister. But like I don't know, for me like the big dumb blockbuster bar has been raised, especially by the likes of like Michael Bay and stuff. So like at this point, it was a fine movie. I enjoyed it.
Okay,
But, like,
so since I gave it a 6 earlier, but I think I like it a little more than Evan, I'll give it a 6.5. I'll give it 6.5.
yeah, I'll give it a 7. I'll give it a 7.
okay.
So yeah,